record on this computer. Okay, we're live.
All right, welcome to episode 1 of Virginia Wrestling Roundup. I'm Earl Smith with State Chairman Bill Swink.
Good evening, everyone.
All right, so the first thing we have on our list, we're just going to go down and talk about some of the happenings recently in Virginia. The first thing we have is Tulsa Nationals. We had a handful of place winners out there. 10 and under division, Roman Tuttle was 5th at 67 pounds. 12 under, Dale Corbin, he won. He was a champion at 84 pounds. 15U division, Chase Van Hoven, he was 2nd at 89 pounds. At that same weight class, Colin Martin was 5th. And then at 101 pounds, Noah Neininger was a runner-up. And 200 pounds, Parker Farrell took the championship. So a lot of good young kids having some great performances out there.
Yeah, that's a staple in the youth wrestling scene out in Tulsa. And, even in a pandemic year, actually, I probably had more people wanting to go because they're having less local opportunities. So shout out to all those folks and placing in one of the toughest youth tournaments in the nation and 2 champs out there.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at those results, your NCAA All-Americans and champions. You can look at the results from, a bunch of years ago and see some of those same familiar names back in those results.
Definitely. I remember the David Taylors and the Kyle Dakes and the like participating in Tulsa.
Yep. All right, so we're going to move on to the high school scene. In the last ranking video, I asked please for everybody to post results on track wrestling. While we're doing the rankings, that makes it so much easier to be able to see those. I know we'll post the rankings and then we'll get an email or two about a result that we just didn't see. We try to talk to coaches and stuff like that and fans, but there are some things that get overlooked if it's not on track wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, we've been asking for years and years and years, and we're glad to have Earl and all his ranking expertise now helping us out at Virginia Wrestling for this, and it helps everyone involved to put those results on track, not only for rankings folks, but just for the promotion of the sport. A lot of the fans, a lot of the parents, a lot of college coaches, they go to track to find those results, and if they're not there, we're not promoting our athletes or our sport. So I think it's very important that we get those results in the track wrestling for everyone's sake. Doesn't take a long time. I did it for years, and I'm an old guy. If I can do it, you guys can do it too. So let's get those results out there.
All right, so we're moving into a crucial part of the high school season. Just like everything, this past year, it's going to be a little different than we're used to. We were talking about this, before we were recording. It's going to be smaller brackets, less kids going. So it's going to have a different look to it, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, Earl, it will have a different look. 8-man brackets at the state championships. A lot of regions are doing things differently as well to, set their brackets, with the limitations of the number of people that we can have in a facility. And, even had a conversation today with some coaches. I said, even though the athletes don't count against your total, you have to have a place for them to be able to sit. And you still have to practice social distancing to be able to do that. So, your bleachers, the athletes that are competing are taking up a lot of the seating in an event like the Virginia High School League regionals and state championships. So, it's tough to have fans, and it does look different, and it was a shorter season. No individual tournaments. We did all dual meet, whether it was a quad, a try, or a dual. That's all teams were allowed to do. But we did get to have a season, and we're moving forward and headed to the final few weeks here. So this is when I coach, this was my favorite time of the year. was heading into the district, regional, and state series. So that's where we're at, and we'll let you start, Earl. You do the rankings, and we've had some movers and shakers and some updates here with our ranked teams.
Yeah, and as someone who's done the rankings for years yourself, team rankings, especially on the high school level, can be kind of challenging because you can have a really strong dual team that's maybe not as strong in tournaments. So I think maybe we've seen that on some levels. Some of these really dominant dual teams. I know Powhatan, for instance, they're an undefeated team. I think they only have Sean Hall and Hayden Fitzsimmons in the rankings, but overall, they're just a really solid team.
Yeah, very solid team. I got to see those guys the first week of the season there, early January, and they have a very, very solid team. I think you have them at number 18 right now.
Mhm.
But yeah, went 14-0. And I think they'll have some kids that are going to surprise some people as well.
Yeah, I agree. So, looking at some of these results recently, we had probably the upset of the year. I think in most people's eyes. I'll be very honest. I thought that New Kent would kind of breeze through to a state title, and they may very well do so in the individual tournament format. But they lost to Skyline. I think it was 2 weekends ago now, 42-25. And that's another team that's just really stout from top to bottom.
Yeah, they are. That's two good teams, and 3A ought to be very interesting. Not only do you have New Kent and Skyline, which we Great Bridge number two, which they unfortunately are not getting to compete. So essentially, you got the top two teams in the state, and then Montgomery County, which is where Christiansburg's at. They were not participating, but got to participate here at the end of the season. So you're going to throw the number 5 ranked team into the mix in that 3A division. So you've got Skyline and two-time defending champs New Kent, and you can't forget Christiansburg. They've been a power for a long time.
Yeah, that's gonna be a great race. I have a feeling. New Kent was also in action last week with number 4 Benedictine. New Kent won 44-33 there. We also saw some good 4A action. 17 Eastern View over Spotsylvania, 39-31. I believe you saw that.
I actually did, and another good match with 4A teams, and I'll get to see all 3 of those schools at the 4B regional here on Saturday at Spotsylvania High School. So should be interesting. I think you have them 17, 18, and 19 in the state rankings. So a lot of good kids there between those teams. Spotsylvania has been I am there as the AD, but they have 6 freshmen in their lineup. So they've had a really good year with a pretty young team.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be a team to look out for going forward, as well as this year at the state tournament. Looking at 6A, we have number 6 Robinson. They've been rolling. They're 10-0 now. Had wins over Annandale 74-3, West Springfield 61-6. What do you think about Coach Brian Hazard's team?
Well, Brian, always does a great job. In addition to being a great person and a great announcer, he does a great job preparing his athletes. They always perform well in the postseason. So it looks like they've been handling people up in the northern region to date, and I think they'll give a good run at 6A this year.
Yeah, I think so also. And going down to 5A, one of the favorites there, number 12, Atlee loses to in-county rival Hanover 31-27. And, that was kind of surprising. They're 3-3 on the year. They're a team kind of like, what I said earlier. They have a lot of kids that are probably going to place high at the state tournament, but, they did lose to Hanover.
Yeah, and all the Hanover schools were a little bit handcuffed this year with their county's guidelines. During the regular season, they can only compete against Hanover schools. So, we'll see how that may be. And there's good wrestling in Hanover, so it's not that they didn't have good competition, but they didn't get to see a lot of competition. And we'll see how maybe that plays out in the state championships, not getting the opportunity to compete against some of those schools. And I would say, Nadsman River was probably the favorite there, and they're out due to their county's regulations, and got what 3-time defending champ Brook Point from Stafford in 5A as well. They had a late start to an already delayed season with the Stafford County schools, so I think 5A's wide open and could be very interesting.
Yeah, 5A is wide open. I think we'll have something in the future, regarding Nansemond River, one feature that we did recently.
Yeah.
Now, so going down 295, down 64 to the beach area, we have number 13 Kellum with a win over number 16 Cox, 53-27. Kellum is currently 6-0. They have a great program. They continue to just roll out a solid lineup top to bottom. What are you thinking about those guys? Are they going to be able to give Robinson a scare?
I think they will. They're going to be in the mix. Coach Benzel down at Kellum has done a great job for years, and like you said, Earl, they put a good product on the mat. That's a pretty impressive win over a pretty good Cox team. 53-27, and Cox, I would imagine, will be in the mix in the 5A talk. So, Kellum, I think, will be in there, and 4A, I think, has the most schools not participating in winter sports. So, a stronger that could help a school like Kellum maybe get a few more kids into the state meet that they might not have during normal circumstances. So that could maybe help as well. So, yeah, I think 6A. I don't know. Those Robinson and Kellum might be the two favorites there.
Yeah, I would agree. So let's go up to the college level. We're going to look at some of the in-state schools. Number 9, Virginia Tech. They're in action on Friday, rolling over Duke 42-3, and then UNC the next day 23-9. And they've got the big one this Friday. It might be, I have to do some research. It might be the biggest ACC dual meet ever, with NC State being number 4, and Virginia Tech may move up a couple of spots before then. They had an incredible dual meet last year. What do you think about this one?
Oh man, I'm excited to watch that one. I'm so glad college wrestling's back on, and Tech and NC State ought to be going. 2 great coaches. They've done a great job with their programs, both in the top 10 in the country. And I'm sure there's no love lost between the 2 programs, which makes it even more exciting. And it's great overall to see the ACC being here in Virginia and what they've accomplished. They have five schools ranked in the top 20, I think 25 right now. So, that's tremendous for the ACC. It wasn't many years ago when we talked college wrestling, you didn't even talk about the ACC. Now, we got 5 schools in the rankings, which is just tremendous.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when you have maybe 14 kids going to the NCAA tournament from the ACC, and now that number's generally doubled. So I think we're going to see 2 Virginia natives probably play prominent roles in that duel at 184 pounds. You have the match of the dual meet, number 2 Hunter Bolin at Christiansburg. He's got number 5 Trent Hidley. They wrestled twice last year. Hunter won both of those matches. Both were close. And then at heavyweight, you have John Borst of Sharando. He might get the nod there against Deontay Wilson of NC State. And, a match like this, provided they start at 125, we figure it's going to be close. So it could come down to those big boys.
It absolutely could, Earl. And, it's good seeing Virginia natives in that lineup and looking to put Tech over the top in that duel.
And speaking of Virginia natives, one shined for UVA on Friday night as they upset number 16 Pitt 17-16. That was Michael Batista Broad Run at 184 pounds. He beat Greg Henry, who was ranked around 20 or so, and that ended up being one of the difference makers for the Cavaliers.
Yeah, that's a good win for Coach Garland and his crew over Pitt last week. The Pitt was ranked. What were they, Earl? 15, 16, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Going into that match, and UVA was a little lower, but there's all kinds of rankings out there. And don't forget to see Earl Smith's rankings on the open mat, guys. But there's all kinds of ranking services out there. I know I saw UVA in one earlier today, up to number 20. So we got 2 Virginia Division I programs in the top 20, which is awesome. And another great match there. JILO did drop his match. That was 2 top 10 ranked guys, and Jay from Westfield is ranked up in there, and hope to see him on the podium, in March as well at the Division I Nationals. So a lot of good things happening in our Division I programs, with Tech and UVA, and Mason. We'll talk about that. Hopefully Earl gets that with some individuals in VMI, and we do have to remember we lost Old Dominion this year, which still hurts, but it's good to see those Old Dominion kids out there competing for some of these other schools and doing well. I just wish they were still at ODU doing it.
Yeah, I mean, a huge portion of the Virginia coaching population came out of ODU, and it's been a great spot for Virginia kids to go for forever. So yeah, that one still burns. All right, let's go to D3. Look at Averett, who improved to 7-0. They had wins over D2 teams: Lander 23-13, Emmanuel 48-9, and King 31-16. And looking at those D3 rankings, we have these are Virginia natives. Number 4, Sam Braswell at 125 pounds from Averett. His teammate Brandon Woody is number 10 at 141 pounds. Looking at Ferrum, we have Levi Engelman. I know you know him well. Number 3 at 133 pounds. And then Braden Holmesy is number 9 at 197 pounds. And then Southern Virginia has Nico Ramirez, number 7 at 285 pounds. So it's good to see all those guys in the rankings.
It is, and Coach Rulo has Averett rolling there 7-0. Wins over 3 Division II schools last week is awesome. And I tell you what, I'm excited not only for this year in Division III, but that's where Virginia wrestling is growing. With the new programs at Emory and Henry and at Shenandoah, and we just there weren't many D3.
Yeah, Roanoke College.
Roanoke College, yeah, there weren't a lot of D3 opportunities. Now we have a bunch, which is great for our kids in state. Division III. I hadn't seen the Division III national tournament in person until I went when Ferrum hosted a couple years ago, and it was tremendous. The wrestling was outstanding, and the kids put it on the line. They were not defensive or trying to protect the lead. They were going at it continuously, and it was really fun to watch. So I'm excited for the future of D3 wrestling in Virginia.
Yeah, our friend Jason Bryant, he announces the D3s every year. He's another Virginia guy. He has said for years, he's preached to me that you have to go to the D3 tournament because, it's just a totally different atmosphere. So that's one of those things on my bucket list.
Yeah, and I think Ferrum's going to host it again soon. So
yep,
we'll be able to, you can go and watch it in Virginia.
All right, so we're going to look at some of the D1 rankings, courtesy of the Open Mat. At 125 pounds, Sam Latona, Virginia Tech. Number 10, 133 pounds, we have 2 guys, number 9, Corbin Myers, number 10, Louis Hayes of UVA. We've got 3 guys at 141 pounds, number 22, Alex Madrigal, George Mason, 31, Brian Courtney of Virginia, and 32, Sam Hilligus of Virginia Tech. Going up to 149, number 12, Bryce Andonian of Virginia Tech, and 29, Denton Spencer of UVA. 157 pounds, number 20, Justin McCoy of UVA, 31, Connor Brady of Virginia Tech. Now at 165 pounds, we have the number 1 wrestler in the country, Virginia Tech's first NCAA champion, Mekhi Lewis, and number 16, Jake Keating of Virginia. 184 pounds, we talked about him earlier, number 2, Hunter Bolin, and number 32, Kyle Davis of George Mason, and number 33, Michael Batista of Virginia. 197 pounds, number 4, Jay Aiello of Virginia, and his teammate at 285 pounds, number 15, Quinn Miller, and number 16 is John Borst.
Yeah, lots of that's a lot of kids for, you know, four Division I programs here. A lot of guys ranked in the top 33. If you're not familiar with Division I wrestling, 33 make the tournament. So hopefully, you know, with those and some more, can get a spot there in the Division I national championships this year.
Yeah, and hopefully some of those Virginia kids that are at out-of-state schools, you know, do well. I know we had Jackson Turley of Rutgers. He had it's a big win over the weekend, and he's going to move into the rankings. So, you know, we're keeping an eye on him as well.
Yeah, if you hadn't seen that highlight, it's floating around out there. It was his throw against Minnesota last week. So check it out, find it. I know they were happy. The Greco guys were happy. They said a little Greco throw there. So we'll shout out for Greco and Turley for having that nice throw.
All right, so that's going to wrap it up for college. Now we're going to move on to some of the upcoming events for VAWA. At the end of the month, February 28th or 27th and 28th, it's going to be folk style states from the Meadow Events Park in Doswell. You've got 8 divisions, 16U, 14U, 12U, 10U, 8U, and for the girls, elementary school, middle, and high school.
Yeah, great event, Earl. You know, I've been a part of this since its inception in some form, some way. You know, we had to move it out of Richmond this year, out of the Arthur Ashe Center due to Richmond Public Schools not having winter sports, so we couldn't use the facility. So we moved it up to Doswell at the Meadow Event Park. It's a State Farm building there, State Farm Bureau building, right across the street from King's Dominion. You know, we have to limit the number of competitors this year. We still can have a lot over the 2 days, but they are limited. So don't forget to visit virginiawrestling.com and get registered right away. And, you know, that does encompass some of our younger high school age wrestlers as well. So with that 16U division, and then, you know, the girls division, we have all 3 elementary school, middle school, and high school. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, for sure. I want to check that out and see, you know, as we mentioned, there's a lot of good middle schoolers because a bulk of that is middle school, elementary school, along with some high schoolers.
It is, Earl. In fact, I will share a quick story. A couple of years ago, one of the parents sent me a random picture in an email. Well, not random. It was a podium shot from the VAWA, you know, folk style state championships. And he said, check this out, Bill. And he, on the podium, 5 of the 6 in that weight class went on to win high school state championships. So it was kind of cool to see that. You know, you talk about a deep tournament in a deep weight class, you know, that was really nice to see.
I do love to see that. So also same venue, a couple weeks later, March 12th through 14th, we've got a big event. I know you're happy landed in Virginia. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. It's the USA Wrestling National High School Recruiting Showcase Qualifier. There are 8 qualifiers around the country. We were lucky to get one here in Virginia. So I am excited. This is for high school boys, grades 9 through 12, USA Wrestling's junior age group. And that's a folk style um, competition. The top 5 will qualify for the national championships that are going to be held out in Iowa. And then the girls division, a little different. It's freestyle. Why freestyle? In college, the girls wrestle freestyle, and this is a recruiting showcase. So the girls division will again, juniors, grades 9 through 12 in freestyle action. March 12th through 14th, the Meadow Event Park in Doswell. The 12th is just weigh-ins, so all the action will take place on the 13th and 14th. But we're excited to bring this event to Virginia.
Yeah, it's a great event. And I'm glad to see the girls in freestyle. That makes a lot of sense.
It really does. It's awesome concept.
And speaking of freestyle, we've got some cool events on the senior level coming up in the near future. This isn't necessarily Virginia based, but it's just good wrestling to watch. We've got the America's Cup. That's going to be February 10th and 11th. That's men's freestyle. Then we have the Captain's Cup, which is women's freestyle, February 13th and 14th. This is going to be a lot of fun. I was on a USA Wrestling kind of, I don't know if you call it podcast or whatever, last week talking about the women's freestyle event. And I think it's going to be a great showcase. We're wrestling geeks. We can wake up at 3 a.m. and watch tournaments in Russia and, stuff like that. But, for the general public, a dual meet, these are an hour long. They're easy to watch, easy to understand. You got team A, you got team B. I think it's just going to be a lot of good exposure, especially the women's event.
Yeah, Earl, I agree with you. If you haven't watched a lot of freestyle, I think it'd be a good opportunity to. There's our buddy Brian Hazard trying to call me. I'll have to call him back.
Yeah, he called me too just a second ago.
I'm looking forward to watching those, and that's something that's been great. All these, bouts that we've had and cards that the different organizations have put together, and they've been awesome to watch, and some freestyle, some Greco, women's freestyle, and this just is going to feature a lot of our top open wrestlers in the United States in these 2 events. So good to check out. And now we've got the college event wrestling happen again. I've been happy. My daughter is so glad wrestling's back. She told me I've been miserable without it. So, I'm looking forward to it. I think those are 2 very good events, high level wrestling. If you haven't checked out those types of events, I think it'd be good to do. Good exposure for you guys.
Yeah, that's funny. I think my wife kind of alluded to the same thing about, I feel sorry for you not being able to travel to Fargo, to, wherever else you may have gone. So yeah, I'm much, much happier.
Yep. So guys, I think we're going to kind of wrap it up now. Earl, you got anything else?
No, I think we covered everything we wanted to hit on.
Okay. I would like to give a couple words before we get off and let Earl close it out. Just remember, don't check out our new wrestling forum on virginiawrestling.com. The old one just became outdated and they couldn't update it anymore. So Coach Prebish had to go to a new model, and so that new form's up there. I'd like to do this show again, maybe in 2 weeks, Earl, before the state tournament. We can do another Virginia Wrestling Roundup, and we'll post an email on that forum where you guys can send in some questions, and we'll try to answer some of your questions on the next show. And again, as I mentioned, this is Virginia Wrestling Roundup, bringing back the old website name from the 90s. Also, we'd like to thank Blue Chip Wrestling. They're one of our big partners, so don't forget to visit Blue Chip for all your wrestling needs. And Earl, I'll let you talk about the other thing you, Brian, and I are working on, and we've actually shot the first one. It'll be up soon.
VAWA is going to start a Rockfin channel. For those who are not familiar, you're able to join Rockfin, and it's $10 a month, and you have access to all of the other channels on the site. A bunch of these colleges, their RTCs have channels, prominent wrestlers have channels, and so there's a ton of content. We shot a video already with some of the coaches from schools whose seasons were canceled, and there's an incredible amount of information, some great anecdotes, and basically how these coaches and wrestlers are handling that. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be able to. That's another avenue for us to put out a lot of content for everybody in Virginia.
And we're going to call that show, Earl, We've Got the Loot, Lutte. For those who don't know, wrestling in French.
I like it.
So, guys, I'd like to thank you for watching tonight. I'm Bill Swink, Chairman, Virginia Wrestling Association, and we have
Earl Smith,
VAWA, and the Open Mat. Check out his website, guys. He has all kind of wrestling coverage for you. Rankings and results and whatever you want, the Open Mat has it. Thanks for watching us, guys, and we're looking forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you.
How do I stop it?